Time is never found again. Or is it? By blahblahblah1703. Chapter 5. Prim and I had gotten to school a little early, so that I could meet up with Peter. Not that she knows that. She had asked me a dozen times why we were here so early, but I didn't give her a satisfying answer. I should have expected that she knew I was lying. I had never been good at keeping secrets. Though even keeping her in the dark didn't work out well for me. As soon as Peter saw me and Prim at the flagpole, he was quickly excusing himself from the group of Murchies he walked to school with and made his way over with a large grin on his face and a sparkle in his eye. I knew what was going to happen before he did it, and I didn't even attempt to stop him. He swept me up and laid one on me right in front of everyone. The gasps were still echoing across the schoolyard when we separated. I could feel everyone's stares like they were needles, poking at me from all directions. It was like they had never seen people kiss before. "Good morning," he greeted me after our little show for the entire school, all nonchalant like you didn't just step on a proverbial landmine. I told him a Murchie and a seam kid wouldn't go over well, but he also told me that he didn't care. Something he definitely proved without a doubt just now. "Good morning, Peter." I roll my eyes at him with love. "Good morning, Peter," Prim chirps, the biggest smile I have ever seen stretched across her face. And for Prim, that is saying something. "Good morning, Prim," Peter greets, tucking good-naturedly on one of her long braids. "So, wanna tell me?" I cut Prim off with my hand over her mouth, not even flinching when she licks it, to try to get me to let go. I lean down to whisper in her ear. "Not now, little duck. I'll tell you later." Maybe. I finally let her go and she just giggles, looking between the two of us. "So, ready for History of Pan Am?" Peter makes a face at me, obviously not wanting to go to this class. He takes my book bag from me without asking, throwing it over his shoulder along with his blue one. "As ready as I can be, I guess." I smile at him, happy for the new topic of conversation. I turn to Prim. "All right, you better get to class. Good luck on your presentation, and don't forget to tuck your tail in, little duck." She's wearing her reaping outfit, wanting to look her best for her presentation with Rory today. Thankfully, she doesn't notice how much I despise that outfit, the sight of it bringing back some horrible memories. Ones that are sure to come true all over again. She quacks at me, causing Peter and I to erupt with laughter, before turning on her heel and heading towards the middle school building, right across the schoolyard from the high school. Peter takes my hand and started leading me in the opposite direction. "I talked to my dad yesterday. He is good with switching shifts with me on Saturday, so I'll be free until 1 o'clock when the afternoon shift starts." I squeeze his hand. "Good. Meet me by the tree in the meadow at 5 that morning. I'll show you the hole in the fence, and we can train. Starting with how to walk in the woods quietly and a refresher on snares." I whisper back, making sure to not be overheard by the dozens of kids that were in the quickly silencing hallway. I know we both take notice of the stares and whispers following us around, but neither of us reacts to them or says anything. Both of us used to being watched in one way or another. Behaving differently wouldn't help our situation, so what's the point? I am even 90% sure that the reaping rolls in June, we will be the horror story that parents tell their kids about, trying to make them stick to their side of the town line. At least until we both come out of the arena together. Who knows how these people will react to us then. We get to our classroom quickly. The building's small enough to get from one side to the other in less than 4 minutes, even taking your time. Madge just smirks when we walk in, her eyes immediately finding our linked hands. Peter doesn't seem to notice as he walks me to my seat, putting my bag down by my chair. "Hey, Peter!" Madge giggles, obviously enjoying this new development. "Hey, Madge, how are you?" he asks right back, honestly looking for her answer. He knows how close we were before the victory tour, and he's obviously looking to get closer to my closest and only female friend. It is such a Peter action that I'm not even surprised. Happy? Yes. Surprised? No. "I'm doing pretty well, but obviously," she looks back and forth between the two of us smugly, "you're doing even better." My jaw drops at her statement slightly. I can't remember Madge being that fictitious. Peter just smirks, and I do know he can be fictitious. Our time together has proven that tenfold. I would have to say you're right about that much. And help me remind Katniss, will you? That we're in love, so it's all right for her to kiss me any time she feels like it. Peter then has the nerve to wink at me. I just lightly push him, not even hard enough to move his sturdy frame. Of course he had used that old joke. He's probably been saving it for the first time it could work into a conversation. It's cheesy and annoying and utterly charming. He laughs at my reaction and leans down to kiss the top of my head, still chuckling as he walks back down. The rest of the Murchies file in as he sits down, shooting him questioning and slightly confused looks, and glaring at me with all their might. But it honestly just makes me laugh. I have dealt with so much more than their nasty looks. Peter and I share one last look before I sit down, trusting him to have my back. I am aware that this is slightly irrational. However, I have been through 2 arenas and a war before the age of 18. I think I'm allowed to be slightly irrational. At least that's what Prim and Mum kept drilling into my head when I got out of the quell. The rest of the school day goes by in a flash, but also lasts forever. Lunch is by far my favourite part of the day, even with the heckling on the way there. Peter ditches his Murchie friends and comes to sit by Madge and I. We spend the entire lunch talking, laughing and flirting with one another, Madge giggling at our antics and joining in on the good-natured teasing and conversation. She seems super happy to add someone new to our dynamic, and was genuinely surprised by my attitude. Surprised, but happy. Peter and I shared our lunch. I had got a squirrel that morning, and luckily Mum had been up and preparing it, so Prim and I could split it for lunch that day, along with some of the goat cheese Prim made, and a little bit of rosehip jam. Peter brought his usual bread, but this one wasn't stale. He had said that Rye had accidentally burned the bottom half of the loaf, but the top was perfectly cooked, and he got to take the top while Rye was stuck with the usual stale bread for the rest of the week. We both ended up with really good sandwiches once we put all our food together. I make a note of it so that I can introduce it to Prim, another easy dinner that I can make on nights when Mum is out of it. Though those are becoming less and less often now. And I know, after the upcoming games, Mum will be almost completely snapped out of it. The heckling I experienced on the way to lunch didn't happen when Peter walked me to my class after it, his presence warding off the Murchies. And I know my presence will be warding off the well-meaning but ill-informed Seam Big Brothers. The Seam Big Brothers are a group of Seam boys aged 16 to 18 who try to look out for the girls. They are well-meaning and certainly have their hearts in the right place, but their methods are sometimes a little extreme. I haven't had time to talk to Gale since yesterday, because he had to run through the snare line earlier that morning, as he needs to get Posy to kindergarten earlier than we need to be at school. I need to go back out this afternoon, try to get meat for dinner tonight and tomorrow. And I know Gale will be there too, once again running the snare line and probably doing some foraging, waiting to see if I show up so we can hunt together. Gale would be able to call the SBB gang off. I just need to convince him that Peter isn't taking advantage. I really hope he hasn't started to like me yet, because that would be highly annoying and a major obstacle. I'd just have to search out Tom and ask him if he can get the rest of the boys off. Having a backup plan made me feel slightly better, but I do hope Gale just does it, instead of having me go around again. Finally, we have our last class of the day, math. Peter was already in class by the time I made it there, and he just smiled and crossed his eyes at me as I walked past him to get to my seat. Just like yesterday, I can't make myself not stare at him. I am in awe of how this man loves me. I know I'll never be the perfect girlfriend, but I can't help but think that Peter won't let me fail. He will be there for every screw-up and miscommunication and bad moment, even when I don't deserve it, because Haymitch is right. I could live 1,000 lifetimes and never deserve my boy. But I'll never stop trying. These thoughts take me straight through the period, finally ending when I realise the bell has rung. I hurry to pack my stuff up, not wanting Peter to be late for wrestling today, and I was planning to walk him there. I should have realised he wouldn't let me though. No, To Peter, it is only gentlemanly to walk me to meet Prim at the flagpole, so that's what he does, leading me gently out of the school, talking and laughing all the while, ignoring the looks and the whispers like we have all day. Prim gives Peter a beaming smile as we walk towards her, and in response he just affectionately chucks her chin with a matching smile. Seeing them together brings all the best thoughts into my head. A future of happy moments, all filtering through at once, mostly featuring these two in front of me, happy and together. After another quick and very public kiss, Peter rushes off to wrestling practice, and I walk home with Prim. I get her set up with a cup of pine needle and juniper berry tea, and her homework, when we get back. Then I get on my hunting clothes and grab my game bag to get into the woods, hoping for a good game day. I am just getting my gear from the hollowed out stump when I sense, more than hear, Gale walking up behind me. "Hey, Gale," I greet him, still unsure of how I feel about his presence now, but wanting to salvage a relationship with the kind-hearted 14-year-old I originally met in these very woods. However, I am not putting Peter or Prim at risk to do that. So, all of my conflicting emotions have caused me to feel awkward and unsure around my once best friend. "Hey, Catnip," he greets me happily. His grey seam eyes sweep around, clocking the 2 snares he can see from here, both empty. We move swiftly through the woods, talking about school and our families. I shoot a squirrel, and we both gather another round of juniper berries, as well as pine needles, just for a few simple trades. I find some elecampane roots and a few thistles for my mother, staples that she's running low on. She uses elecampane to treat coughing and respiratory issues. Miners with black lung come to mind. And, if you eat it, it can treat worms and other gut problems, something that is common in 12 from eating anything and everything you can get your hands on that's even a little bit edible. Thistle is used to treat joints, and many miners, if they live to the age, have enough money to save to retire, have awful arthritis and achy joints, so thistle is always a welcome addition to Mum's stores. Gale's snares get a raccoon and a squirrel. By this time we are coming up to our rock shelf, and we decide to take a little break. Having only been out for around half an hour, we still have a few hours of daylight left, and maybe we can get a rabbit or two or something. "Oh, also, you'll never guess the rumour people have been spreading about you today," Gale laughs. He is completely unaware of how I tense up. Here it comes. "They were saying that you were with the baker's boy, Peter. And they were even saying that you were kissing and holding hands and the whole deal," he says, still amused, finding it funny and unbelievable. "His name is Peter," I say, trying to get a read on him and ease him in gently, hoping that'll help his eventual reaction and pout be kept to a minimum. "Whatever, close enough." He waves the correction off. "But can you believe that? It's not like your family need food desperately. And you have never mentioned him even once, so it's not like you guys are friends. And he's a Murchie! You'd never cross that line." Gale, I don't know what rumour you heard, but some of it may be true. I actually am dating Peter. I just haven't had a chance to tell you yet," I say, not ashamed or embarrassed by my relationship with Peter. If anything, I am proud. Proud that I am dating such a good guy. One who loves me unconditionally. Gale's joking smile and confident demeanour drops immediately. "You're dating a Murchie?" he asks me incredulously. "He's just going to take advantage of you. He will drop you immediately after he gets what he wants from you, Katniss. That's what they do." "Gale, you don't know Peter. I would normally agree with you, but not Peter," I say calmly. "Katniss, whatever happened to not wanting to get married or have kids? You swore off boys for years. What changed?" he asked, changing tactics once he sees I will not agree with him. He knows I can out-stubborn him. I've done it 1,000 times. "Gale, I still don't want kids. Could you imagine sending them off into the square for a reaping? I can't even handle the fact that Rory is up this summer, let alone Prim. I am allowed to change my mind, though, especially about marriage. Being married doesn't automatically mean you have to have kids. I say firmly, aware he doesn't get where I am coming from. That doesn't change the fact that he is going to drop you sooner rather than later, Gale spouts, his jaw set. Gale, how many girls have you brought to the slag heap? I ask him with a little bit of sharpness. He looks at him like I had just wounded him. I'm not judging you. I'm just asking how that is different from what you're accusing Peter of. Plus, we aren't sneaking off to the slag heap. You know me better than that. I roll my eyes, knowing well how Gale is oblivious to his own faults. Fine. Just don't come running to me when you get your heart broken. I'll just say I told you so. He snarks back, completely ignoring my earlier point. He's already pouting just like I knew he would. Fine, Gale, but I'm not worried about that, I tell him, hopping off the rock ledge and wiping my pants free of pine needles and dirt. Oh, and can you call off the big brothers? I can search out Tom if you don't want to see them before school tomorrow, but I'd really appreciate it. Gale just nods at me, still not happy with how this conversation turned out. I make a mental note to see if Tom is around tomorrow morning, just to make sure the SBB was told to back off. We go back to hunting after that. I end up finding another batch of dockseed, and I gather a bunch of it, sharing with Gale how to dry and use it. I can tell he wants to thank me. This is huge for both our families. But his mood is still soured by our earlier tiff. Gale finds a few more walnuts while I shoot a rabbit. That's when we see them surrounding us. A pack of coyotes. We must have wandered close to their den. This didn't happen last time. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Again, I just love this. Peter is one of the top 3 green flag boyfriends in my book. He is right up there with Percy Jackson and Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. Just, those are my 3 top healthy fictional couples. I love them. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.